Hello, everyone. Welcome into Facts, Not Feelings. It is Friday. That's the first week of the month of February, and it's Friday, Owen. We've made it to the weekend. I'm super, super excited. And I'm excited because you're on the show, man. I don't know how long we've been waiting to have you on the show, Owen, but it has been like back and forth. And it's taken about a year, but we've got you on the show. And I'm super, super excited having the show right now, Owen.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Obviously, we've been kind of playing tag a little bit here, and everyone's got things going on. But kicking off the new year, I feel like I'm on like my 17th straight day of work. So it is what it is. But looking forward to the weekend, that's for sure.
Oh, so excited. And not only that, you're coming off NADA, which we will get into that. So before we jump into this, I just want to quickly introduce for anyone that's coming on to the show right now, and you're like, wait, I've seen Owen's name before. Not really sure who he is. Let me just drop some knowledge on you real quickly. Owen has been in the industry, and Owen, correct me if I'm wrong, 20 plus years, right? Like you're an OG, you're a veteran at this point doing this gig, correct? 20 years, right?
Yeah, definitely aging myself. This is my 23rd year in the trenches here. So
I love it. And coming off NADA, you all, I'm actually going to throw up this nice little photo that you guys just won at NADA, the AWA Fixed Ops Digital Rising Star Award, which is pretty freaking awesome. Speak to that before, and we will get into how you can put a spark in your fixed ops online service marketing in 2023. But talk about this AWA award that you guys just won here at NADA. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, so we actually put ourselves out for an AWA award back in 2020. Obviously, there wasn't as many people focused on service marketing or doing it from the digital standpoint. And we had our drive service solution that we had put out for. That was kind of our intro to all of this, right? We were a couple years in. We were pretty excited about the 2020 year. Obviously, as we know, things got very different after NADA. But we had won. The first AWA was back then. And so to come back, 3 years later and put ourselves back in for our new Spark platform, we were super excited just to kind of introduce that certain way. Obviously, being a disruptor, which we've kind of been a disruptor ever since we opened the doors. That's really what we got recognized for. And Brian does a great job with that. A lot of people, will come and sort of support each other, right? It's all vendor driven event. There were some dealers there, I think, but it's one thing that he really talked about this show, this award show, was just complimenting, all of us that are in the space that are trying to build tech and build solutions for dealers. And I think that's something that goes overlooked a lot. I mean, you don't always get that recognition because everyone is so busy and there's so much competition. And of course, vendors are sort of fighting for that, that almighty dollar from the dealer. But, to just kind of come together and celebrate not only the industry, but all the companies that were in the room that night that are helping, dealers on many different facets. We were obviously in the fix ops. We were on the fix ops section, but there was websites and digital retailing, and there was so many different categories that were being recognized that night. So I had my whole team there. We had not my whole team, everybody that was at NADA was at the show or at the show, and so we had a table, and it was just great because not all of our teammates are in the trenches with us with the dealers every day. Some are sort of the behind the scenes. So to actually get to experience that for them, I think was as valuable as anything.
And I'm just going to cling on to one thing you just said at the very end here is Steve Apatow is coming in here and just saying Owen Moon is helping to cast a spotlight on fixed ops beyond the one-time transaction. And that is something that Steve and I have actually talked about. And I love the fact that you said that you're bringing people behind the scene and how important that is. If I can just champion that so much, because so often you hear about it's people in the front of I see that face all the time. And that's great. Those individuals, and I champion the fact that those individuals are going to conferences, but also understand that people behind the scenes that are actually making that technology work, and they're in the trenches, and applauding them, because a lot of times the people like yourself or me or whomever that are, hey, we're the face of the company. But really what it comes down to, and they're like, so how exactly does it work? You're like, well, it's this algorithm and it's a ones and zeros. And actually, let me bring up Bob or let me bring up Susie, and she can explain exactly how this works. And it gives them that time to shine and say, hey, all this work that you've done, look at it come to fruition on all your hard work. So just, oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing that. That's so great. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So
Yeah, and then we don't get enough of that. So, because we can't bring them to every conference or, that type of thing. So just, that look, this is like the Super Bowl. I would say it's the Super Bowl of automotive. And so, I think we brought 17 or 20 people last year. This year, we kind of cut it back to 11. But it was an awesome show. There was a lot of excitement, even knowing all the challenges that we're seeing out there. I kind of, talked to my team this morning a little bit in a little a huddle up, and I said, we've never seen so many challenges probably at one time, right? Between inventory shortages, interest rates, the amount of repos that we're seeing, the OEMs, getting involved, and should we have a dealer model? I mean, EVs, the investment that's needed there. I mean, I can go on, right? The list is strong. But the one thing I noticed that I saw from the show was that worker mentality. I've been in this business 23 years. I've worked with a lot of really good dealers, and the one thing that they've always done is persevere, right? But now they're up against their biggest challenge. And so they were there to work. They were there to find solutions. They were there to talk to their partners. They were there to party a little bit. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there was a lot of that going on as well at night. But throughout the day, you kind of got that worker mentality. And that's why I love this business. I mean, that's why there's been different times where I've maybe jumped in a little bit and jumped out, during the recession. I had to go find some other things to do in the short term, but it always drives me back to this industry because I like the people, and I like the blue collar mentality that goes along with it. So.
yeah, as Steve is saying, as a tech provider, if we don't bring our developers to engage in the reality where we engage and support, there is immense value and learning missed. Bravo. So bravo. Very, very, very true there. And so as we transition from NADA and what all, you hit exactly what I wanted to talk about. Like that was just, there's all learn. And I heard that so many times about, hey, the dealers that were there, they were really there to learn. Like they had a game plan, they had a strategy. I want to hit this person. I don't want to hit them. I want to hit this event. I have an agenda. This is what I do. I want to learn this. And obviously, as anything, yes, there's going to be. I want to have some fun and let loose as well. That comes with the territory for sure, because it is the Super Bowl event. So I'm gonna have some fun. But along with that, I heard that over and over again is that, hey, this is where I'm going to go. This is who I want to see this person. I want to see this person. I want to see this person. So you definitely saw a lot of that, which was phenomenal. So with that, also with Owen he speaks about, I'm going to say just about every single event. Like it doesn't matter if it's a virtual conference. It doesn't matter if it is a in-person conference. He is about everywhere. And Owen, do we still have you there? I'm just making sure we haven't lost you.
Yeah, sorry, I'm having a little problem with my computer or with my video. So
no worries at all. So with that, so as today as we go, we have Owen offline here a little bit. I'm going to take a moment here while we've got some technical issues. That's the joys of going live. Here. So as Owen fixes get some technical issues here, I just want to take a moment here, and this is I don't normally do this, but we're starting to get some Facts Not Feelings swag in. Where the store, I'm really hoping is going to be up next week, but I want to make sure that when I do these things, it's to help move the industry forward, right? I wanted each time is that I hope I can just help one person. So let me know if this is resonating with everyone. If it is, let me know. Drop a comment, share this with somebody. Let me know. I don't care if it's a thumbs up, give me a fire emoji, give me something. And what I'm going to do is, if whoever ends up sharing this and liking this, whatever it may be, give me some type of interaction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick somebody out of a hat. I've got some swag starting to come in, a little bit of quality assurance first, making sure that it is in fact that that the product comes in, it's okay. And once I do that, each week I'm going to grab somebody and we'll send out something. We've got some shirts, we've got some mugs here, we got tumblers, we've got some mouse pads, we got all fun stuff. But each week, just to make sure that we're on key here, I just want to make sure, like I said, that the message is hitting home, and that I'm talking to the right topics, and that we're on track here. So just let me know. Share this with someone that you think would get something out of this. Like I said, give me a thumbs up, give me something in the comments, share it with someone, and each week I'll send something out to, I'll pick a winner, pick whoever, and I'll ship out something to you. So just let you know. All right, we got Owen back.
Sorry about that.
Hey, no worries, no worries. Believe me, the amount of times that's happened to me, don't even worry about it. All right, moving on here is that, so today we're talking, like I said, we're going to explore some strategies for helping service customers find the information. We're going to talk about online service marketing and how to put a spark in it. So, Owen, you deal with this all the time. So talk a little bit about some of the struggles that dealers are having, not just in the past, but especially now, and what you all do to help with this, and what are some best practices with this?
Yeah, I think it starts at the beginning, right? And kind of looking at it in terms of like what have we focused on both sides. So, the sales side has evolved so fast, right? Over the last 20 years from, not really even having a website, making it more informational, and then turning it into, an online showroom with feeds. And then of course, being able to kind of push inventory across the internet with third-party sites. And now we're into even AI and different ways that we're going about it. Meanwhile, the service side has sat there and kind of been the old school, right? Doing email blasts and postcards and retention play and things like that. And so, the reason why Fixed Ops Digital even exists, or why we started, was as we were looking at websites, we were realizing that there just isn't enough time for the service side of the business to really put that infrastructure in play. And so, so the first thing that we did was said, just like anything, if I am a customer and I'm looking for info and I go to the website and there's nothing there, I'm going to move on, especially when it comes to a service customer, because they don't necessarily want to spend money anyways. It's not like something I got up every day and said, hey, I'm really looking to spend $400 on a new battery today, and that type of thing. So they're going to keep looking anyways. A lot of times I have some data that I'll talk about here in a little bit on that, but the idea was, let's get an infrastructure in place. So where do we start? Specials page, right? Service specials, service parts and specials. Usually I saw 1 out of every 3 was, check back later, right? Check back later for current specials.
Drives me crazy first off when I see that. I'm like, stop doing this. You're just, what are you doing?
Well, what happens is and I talk to digital teams all the time. They're like, man, I tried getting some for my service manager. They got busy. I forgot about it. Now it's the 20th of the month and we still haven't got anything up, right? So we changed it. We said, well, why not turn that into more of a menu board, right? It's like the online menu that you see the Jiffy Lubes have up on their wall. Let's instead of trying to pick a couple services that are discounted, let's look at door rates. Let's look at what we can charge every day, because then if I do some marketing to try to win back a customer that had left or what have you, they're going to see a discount or some sort of an offer, and they're going to go, okay, that dealership's actually, trying to earn my business back. Nothing worse than you say, hey, we've got this great offer for you. We want to win you back. They go to the website and it's like, oh, so everybody can get that offer. Now, how much, do I feel like I'm really being, am I really a special customer that they want back, or is it just a marketing ploy to try to get me in? So, that was where we started. We said, look, let's not only turn that specials page into more of a menu style, but then let's focus on other areas. Instead of just doing a oil change or a 10% off service type scenario, let's talk about these late ownership services, these transmissions and alignments and tires, things that always come up after warranty or after some of the prepaid maintenance is up, but they're also better customer pay opportunities for our dealer. Now, the other thing that's tied into that is defection. Once that warranty's up and once they're, sort of now they got to start paying for that, they want to know what their options are. So by us putting that out on the website, that's going to give them the peace of mind to say, okay, I know the dealership has the technology and the right equipment, and that's the kind of vehicle I have, but now they're giving me the rest of the story, as opposed to before, where it was like, oh, it was very, spotty at best, maybe not even on the brink of getting it done. And so customers are just going to kind of move on. So getting that information, educating them, giving them some recommendations, be transparent. It's all stuff that we've seen work out on the sales side. We just sort of brought that mentality to the service side, but obviously with the service customer in mind.
So one of the other things I saw when I was looking at other sites that had a Fixed Ops Digital, and it was the ability to integrate Sunbit which I thought
Yes.
was really cool. So, maybe there's other companies doing this, I don't know, but I thought that was really cool to not only bring that in and having the video portion, because one thing that I do know, and I mean, obviously we're talking about facts, not feelings, is that service videos get clicked on more than anything else. Like, it is insane how much service videos, the engagement on service videos. So integrating that. So first off, if you're not doing service videos, please, I'm begging you, please have service videos on your website. And then also from a social standpoint, do that too. But hey, the service welcome video, hey, here's a service walk, whatever it may be. But then you incorporate that into, here's a special about wipers, or those different things. So I thought that was a very good idea, and very intuitive to have that in there. Because, like, these get clicked on so much. So thank you for doing that. But the Sunbit thing, I also was really, I love the fact that was integrated, because so many people either don't know about Sunbit, or they have it, but they're not talking about, by the way, hey, did you know that you could finance this? Like, a lot of people can't afford or aren't expecting their car to break down. Oh, you can finance this.
Yeah, and repair financing. So we've got a couple different ones. We got Sunbit, and then we've also got a partnership with Dignify. Those have kind of been the two that have sort of risen to the top. As I kind of mentioned in kind of the early part of this discussion, is that we are kind of in the Wild West on this side of it, especially from a digital standpoint. So nothing's talking, nothing has any sort of integrations. It's getting better. I mean, obviously I can see it, but that's one thing that we've really kind of latched onto early. As we said, we want to be that company that we can help your other parts of your business work inside of our infrastructure, right? So the whole Sunbit repair financing idea came from a discussion with them about when is the dealers introducing that into the world, into the environment, right? They were telling me that a lot of dealerships are introducing it too late, right? They come in for an oil change, they see there's other things, and all of a sudden they got a $400 or $500 potential repair bill, and they're going, well, I can't afford that today. And now there's friction, right? And you don't want friction in any sort of a transactional environment. So what we said was, well, why not get it out there early so customers know that it's available? And let's take it even one step further, and let's actually show them real numbers, because like Sunbit, for example, is really great because it's anything over $60. So most of these services are kind of in that $60 to $90 range, or maybe a couple $100. So you can actually say, hey, you can actually finance that for as low as, $5.70 a month. All it's really doing is it's prepping the customer like, hey, we've got options, right? We've got options if we come in and realize that we need to. There's April. She's obviously one of our customers, and is using Sunbit as well. Upfront is the best time to do it, because you're giving them that information prior to it becoming a friction point. So, and we're doing this with other things as well. We've got some other stuff that we're working on right now, some comparison, secret shopping type of scenarios that we're sort of bringing into the fold. We just want everybody to be able to utilize their stuff more effectively inside of our infrastructure as much as we can.
So, and I love the fact you're talking about up front. So what I have done, at least with my clients, to really push either with the Sunbit, or if they have whatever tool they're using, a lot of them are using Sunbit, is to say, hey, are you even working this into your why service, or why buy, but especially why service, and to bring that into when you are communicating with your clients and your customers, to say, hey, here's a reason why. Is that in your follow-up? Is that on your page anywhere about, hey, here's a great option for you? I mean, there's all these other reasons, but that's a really big one. Do you have even a Sunbit page that talks about what Sunbit is? Because if I'm a regular consumer and I'm like, Sunbit, like, what the actual hell is that? Like, I don't know. If I'm a normal consumer, that makes absolutely no sense to me. So do you have an entire page dedicated to talking about what that is and how beneficial that is, and then walk them through it? I mean, is there a video explanation on it? Because it's such an incredible tool in your tool belt as an entire dealership. That's a great thing to have. So especially talking up front, and work it into your everyday talk track with the consumer. I mean, it's phenomenal.
Well, and it's like anything, right? You get visibility, you get the visibility to the customer. Now we're looking at, and this is what our dealers are telling us, their pre-approvals are going up, which naturally means now that their ROs are going up that they run through. So there's definitely, and there's other things. I mean, look, I always say it's like an F&I department, right? You have different banks for different scenarios. Like, I'd have all of them. I'd have I'd have Sunbit, I'd have Dignify, I'd use my credit card that the OEM provides. I mean, I would have a handful of solutions, because you kind of get that customer one time, right? I mean, not to say that you don't want to bring them back, but when you have them there, that person is your customer that you need to provide those solutions for. Why not have it all at your fingertips? Why not be able to, effectively and confidently say, oh, well, you know what? Have you tried to, getting our credit card? Hey, let me show you that. Oh, have you seen our, I just need 30 days and I'll be able, hey, I need 30 days until I can get that done. Well, we have options for that. We can do some 30 days, same as cash options, because one of the things that our data is telling us is that the time kills sales, right? And it kills sales on the sales side or on the variable side, but it's also killing it on the service side. Some of the big data, I did a presentation with George Nenny at Driving Sales last year on GA4 and kind of how we're utilizing it. Well, one of the data pieces that really stood out as I was kind of digging into it is that as the time goes, the amount of customers that are actually coming back to your website or from an organic standpoint drastically drops. And it kind of makes sense because you're like, oh, I'm looking for a solution today to get my problem fixed. They get the problem fixed and now they move on. So why not give them all the information up front? Why not get as much to them as they can? So that way you can engage with them, maybe get a lead from them, maybe get a phone call from them, get a pre-approval on a repair financing situation. All of that comes into play, probably even more than it does on the sales side.
Oh, yeah. And Jeff is saying here is that we train clients to mention payment plans available every single time before they present a number to the customer. Awesome job, Jeff. Phenomenal job on that one. And it is. I mean, you mentioned GA4 here. I know let's talk. Let's cross off buzzer bingo. Bingo.
Yep. Hot points.
But that is a really big one too. Is that so? You've got a fixed op portion of it, and we'll say service, whatever you want to call it there. And the fact that you're already integrated, and if anyone hasn't had a chance to go check out your website, you go to About Us, and it's one of the very few companies that I've seen that you literally have if someone's certified, which is phenomenal to do that. Like, I love the fact that you're doing that. So going through it, and I know that you guys, well, actually I shouldn't speak out of turn here, but that you guys are already moving in that direction to say, let's make sure everything is certified. We're going in the right direction to make sure that your data is clean, that it's going, you can see it. We're going into a new area of Google, and that's, you guys are going in the right direction already with that. So that's kudos.
Well, and thank you. But and even take it a step further, our software has been powered by GA4 now for about 2 years. So not only are we using it ourselves, and now, so we have a very good, basic understanding of it and kind of, even evolved it internally. But, obviously, as now more and more people are moving into it, as a dealership, there's some good collaboration of that. I'm always skeptical of companies that are using their own reporting platform. Not to say that anybody's doing anything, unethical, but, you just don't know, right? There's bots, there's all kinds of things that are going on. Google doesn't, they're not perfect by any means, but as an industry, I believe that we've sort of adopted them and say, hey, you are the gold, as Ted Ings always tells you, it's the gold standard of reporting. And until someone says, no, we're not going to, I mean, even Brian Pash has, locked arms with several high profile vendors to create a council to, make sure that everybody is sort of utilizing the same, parameters and stuff like that. So, and he's done that in the past. And I feel like, you might as well all, learn it, jump on it, and utilize it for what it is. And that's, at least an unbiased, opportunity from a reporting standpoint.
And you're going to see along the it's Automotive Standards Council, you're going to start seeing that dealers are going to say, hey, if you're not ASC certified, we're not going to do business with you. Yeah. Like you're just going to start seeing that because it is so important that everyone does follow that same spec and that same data layer. And if it's not, then why would I do that? Because going back to that proprietary dashboard of, well, if that's your data, and I can speak from experience that I've worked for companies that did have that proprietary dashboard, and I'd go in and I'm like, well, wait, this doesn't match up. And not that it needs to match up, but if it's not going the same direction, and I can't correlate that back, that's a big problem. That's because it's no longer the dealer's data. And that's a big problem, big problem. All right, so let's go back here a little bit here. So one of the things that I always look at, because I'm gonna steal Tolly Williams' phrase here, it's a repeat and referral business, right? Anyone that knows Tolly, repeat and referral business. And I look at a dealer site and I go, okay, let's just look at your homepage for a hot second. How much of your homepage is dedicated to sales versus how much of it is dedicated to not sales? Just leave it for acquiring versus actually
Like
your
100 to 0 in most cases.
maybe 110 probably,
Yeah.
yeah, most likely. And so looking at that and just saying, okay, let's maybe just incorporate or I'll ask, okay, what is your, based on your advertising, how much of your budget is sales versus fixed ops? And we have no idea. Or I'll even say, hey, how are your AdWords set up? How is this set up? We have no idea. Or it's not set up correctly.
They're not even doing it, is what
they're
it
not
is.
even doing it.
No,
they're not even doing it. And it's so important because I'm like, if it's not set up correctly, your call tracking is not set up correctly, you are literally lighting your money on fire. It's just on fire. So taking that all for a circle, I know that you guys do a great, what you're doing, and you're just championing this effort. I mean, I've obviously, you and I have been on multiple panels together, and I love what you guys are doing. You're doing a great job with this. And then you have a new product out, Spark. So talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so Spark is kind of like our next evolution of what we already were doing. I mean, a lot of it is, the same in terms of our tech with our specials management software and that type of thing. But we are bringing in some new elements. One of the things that we are bringing in is recall lookup. That is a huge piece of business, I think, that doesn't get enough attention. And so kind of going back to what I was kind of talking about, where you kind of have one shot to engage with these customers because they're not coming back on, as time goes on, the chance of coming back gets smaller and smaller. We want to give them as much ways to interact with the dealership while they're there. So bringing in recall lookup and having it be something that the dealership can control has been a big mission for ours. We actually we almost rolled it out at 2020 until COVID hit, and then everything kind of just got tabled for a year and a half as we moved in a little different direction. But what I noticed early was all the OEMs have a recall page, right? But the problem is that it's all based on proximity. So if I'm on, if I put in my information, the Toyota interface is going to say, oh, that dealership is your closest dealership. Go ahead and, set that up with them. That's fine if you find that organically. But if I've got someone on my website and they're looking for recalls, and then by just having it go to a more of a OEM scenario, it's going to recommend the other dealer. I didn't feel like that was really a good business model for not only us, but also for the dealers. So by kind of boxing that customer in and saying, hey, here's your recall, and then getting that information to the dealer, they can then turn around and start, soliciting that customer and that type of thing. So that was kind of the big thing that came out of the Spark platform, is just how do we get more engagement opportunities and conversion opportunities while we're sitting inside of the actual website, as the customer sitting in the website. And then there's some other things that we're doing with like video and some of our and we're introducing some dynamic landing pages. We've got some interactive video kind of coming out. Another thing that we're introducing that I'm really excited about, and we've already been utilizing this for a small segment of customers, is some AI, right? Using chat, natural language processing type scenarios where if somebody downloads a coupon, we want to be able to start that communication process and maybe try to schedule that appointment. We know that dealerships are shorthanded. We know that, a lot of cases they don't even have a service BDC yet. So to try to get as much of that kind of off their plate as possible, it was, we've been utilizing it now for about a year and a half. But now we're expanding some of the ways that we're actually involving that tech inside our mission, I guess, or inside our platform. So
that is it. And there's so much talk about AI. Like, that's a whole other discussion itself. But I've done a few episodes of it. It is really quite amazing that you can now take that and say, okay, let's make this into a natural language, and saying, because how many times does someone click on something and then nothing is done with it? Like they may click on it and maybe they got distracted. Oh, now, well, what happened with that? I mean, do people, and how many times are we actually looking to see, because most likely that our site is not set up correctly to know, hey, they clicked on this, but nothing happened. We didn't follow up with them. And maybe the print option's broken, or this is happening. So having that integrated to say, okay, let's actually follow up with that is so key. I mean, that's that retention part is so vital. And I know I know that I've talked about this. You talked about this. I've talked about my show. multiple times of how important it is for that retention and that repeat and referral business. Because then to go try to, hey, let's go acquire a new customer. Well, first off, once again, what are we doing? What are we doing? That there's so much money that you're wasting, and it costs so much more, 5 to 7 times more to acquire a new customer. And just keep the same customer. So, thank you. Just thank you.
Yeah, and I think that it even goes step to like just the whole nature of that business, right? I mean, when somebody's coming in for service, more than likely, and this is what I've seen, I've done this myself. You're taking time off of work, right?
Yep.
You're either you had the day off and you'll use your day off to get some service done on your car, or you even said, if I can't get in until 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, I'm going to go do that first before I come into the office. So you're already sort of, on their time, right? So the idea of is like, let's get as much done for that customer in that one sitting, because I've seen the nightmares where they're back and forth. They're coming, I've got to come back and get my recall done, blah, blah. I mean, if we can set them up from the beginning and say, look, Brooke, you're coming in at 9 o'clock tomorrow for an oil change. I noticed you turned down 3 of services that are now even another, 90 days or 6 months that need to be done. And I noticed that you submitted something for a recall that's we do have the parts in stock. How would you like to just get all of that done at once? I mean,
so much easier.
Yeah, it's like a perfect world, right? Like, oh yeah, perfect. You mean I don't have to come back, my next week on my day off, or I don't have to take a morning off and, maybe have to use some PTO time. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that with each individual customer, but to try to get more information from that dealer or from that customer up front, I think goes a long ways, not only for CSI scores, positive reviews, but just overall the better experience, that we can give that customer. That's the challenge. I had a dealer tell me one time when we first started going, he goes, I love what you guys are doing with our website. Now, if I could just get our guys to know that they have an 8 a.m. Service appointment coming in, I think that's changed. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it still probably happens, but that was the kind of stuff that we were dealing with 5 years ago, so.
Oh man, and I know that we all have horror stories. Like, don't get me wrong, we all have horror stories, but it's the people process product, right? And if all of them are working in unison, just the amazingness that then happens. It doesn't matter if it's your tool or some other process and the other product, but the fact that it can streamline all of this. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, right now I have to get my car in for service, and I know the last time around when I got this service, it was I'm dreading it like crazy, because the people were very nice, incompetent, but very nice. Their product was not great, and the process was horrendous. And it's like, and I sat there, and because I've been in the industry, and I'm obviously in the industry, I go, let me help you. Like, I can help you, and there are so many people that are willing to help you. But when a hand is reaching down and you don't want to take it, then we have an issue. But it's like, man, there's just so much that can be done, and there's so many amazing services out there. But you've got to have the people and process in place in order for that to have the right product in there to make that move forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, again, kind of talk. He goes, one of the biggest conversations we had with dealers this week at NADA was the scheduler issue, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
scheduler issue is an issue, and I always say, hey, look, I'd love to take on every challenge. This whole scheduler thing is beyond, kind of a scope of what we're doing. We're trying to work inside that environment, but there's 2 different sides of it, right? You've got an operational scheduler, and then you've got the marketing side of it. Operationally, these service managers are living in that, right? That's their Bible, per se. That's what they're inside that every day, working inside that environment. It's just been a challenge from a marketing standpoint. So, there's other companies that are starting to kind of get into that. We're trying to find ways. I honestly believe that the rise of service BDCs will help a lot of this, because if
Oh
we
yeah.
could actually, sometimes you just have to have a conversation, right? We try to automate everything so much in this business. I'm not sure that service will ever be a fully automated solution. I think that sometimes just picking up the phone, asking what the problem is, figuring out what else we can do, selling, other services while we're there. I mean, sometimes you just got to pick up the phone. And I know that's tough for the automotive industry, because everything has been pitched that it's got to all be automated. Everything's got to be automated, so.
So you probably don't know this, but back in the day, my younger brother starts a company, and I come on board with him, and he that was the first time he'd been in the auto industry. and we're in the collision industry portion of it with a software company. And he just goes, I don't get it. Like, how is it this archaic that all the software is built on like 1950? I go, Jordan, welcome to the car industry, buddy. So it's like, and so we're trying to build something that the auto industry, the software from the fixed ops portion is not very, it's cumbersome to say the least. Then you build it from a collision standpoint, it's even more archaic. And he was able to do it, like very smart, very, very smart individual. But he just goes, I don't understand how I'm trying to build something in 2013, something like that. And he goes, the stuff is built in like 1980. I go, welcome to our industry, buddy. It's so difficult. So totally understand what you're going through, but and then to try to have everything talk, and then you're trying to go into another, you're taking that software and then trying to go into a CRM or something of that nature, which is actually more advanced. So you just got so many moving parts, and you're like, let me take it one challenge at a time. Let's one challenge at a time. How about that?
Well, and I always go back to sort of like, hey, let's reset here. We may not be there right now not only as a company, but also as an industry from that side in terms of like how far we are on the sales side. But at least we don't have check back later for service specials, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
We're making strides there. We're starting to, we're even starting to integrate into some of the e-commerce environments, like your dealer tires and things like that. I love some of these companies that are bringing those uniquenesses to the side of it. And then we're figuring out how to like work with them because that's really what our job is as a as a website service experience platform. It's how can we bring in the Sunbits and the Dignifies and the some of these other elements and really bring it together for the customer to help. Think of us almost like a merchandising platform. We're merchandising the service side of the business, no different than what we're seeing on the sales side. It's just there's different profit centers, right? You've got accessories and tires and even collision. I mean, collision is one of those
untapped.
Really, untapped markets, a hidden secret, whatever you want to call it. It's our guys that are doing collision. We have a strategy for collision, and we see the lift when we start to work for them. So,
and I love it. I'm loving this conversation here. So, if you could say, like, what's like, if someone is not doing, they're trying, they're really trying, they're A for effort for what they're doing right now in online service marketing. What's one takeaway that you would give them?
I think that, let's see, what could be a piece of advice? I would say, focus on the different profit centers. A lot of times we only talk about service. I think you have to start, and again, online service marketing, just like online sales marketing, is an extension of your business, right? If you're not showcasing your tires and accessories at the dealership level, then really bringing it online doesn't help tremendously, right? So you have to kind of bring it all together. So make sure that the stuff you want to promote online is also something that people see at the store level. I think that can go a long way, especially when you start talking tires and accessories. I see it a lot where dealers are like, hey, I'd like to sell more tires. And then you see them, they're the service side of their business, and there's no tire displays. There's just nothing. So what would make the customer even believe that you're in the tire business? And then the other thing was just make sure that, especially from a website standpoint, make sure that you're using best practices. Obviously Google has the playbook, right? iframed, code injected software. These things are sort of a no for Google. And I see it too many times where vendors try to cut corners by being able to do that, but you just don't get the website optimization that you get by utilizing the actual website infrastructure, like the dealer-ons and the dealer.coms and dealer inspires and things like that. Make sure the company is actually working inside that environment, as opposed to just connecting their iframe into it, because that ultimately is a recipe for disaster, and it doesn't give any long-term value either.
Yes, 100%. Like, I'm just like checking the boxes, like, yep. And because, we just had April up here, and April does a phenomenal job because she understood during the pandemic was, hey, I'm going to take this time to improve. And I've got some free time on my hand. Well, I won't say free time, because I don't think April ever has free time, but she took the time and made time to say, hey, our service, our formerly artists know this, Google My Business, it's Google Business Profile, to beef up our listings. So their service listings and their parts listings, we're taking out Pep Boys. Like, come on right now. Who else is doing that? Like, she did a phenomenal job with that, but she understood, hey, this is what we can do, and did that. So if you are looking at, there's so much talk about, oh, the Amazon experience. Okay. First off, pump the brakes on that, please, for the love of all. Pump the brakes on that, because most likely, if you're giving that and say that you're truly giving that, it's probably only on the sell side, and you're leaving the fixed op portion of that, your service and your parts, is probably a freaking form. Congratulations, you're stuck in 1980. Good job on that one. So, does your parts actually have are they filling out a form still? Does it connect to a chat? Is there some way to actually have that Amazon experience on your fixed ops portion of it? Think about that for a second, because that's stuff that, like, I go and I'm like, please, why are we doing a form here? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, and parts has both wholesale and retail, right? So
Yes.
you want to talk. I mean, I would say that on your website, you kind of want to position both. You want to talk about the fact that you do wholesale,
Yes.
so that way people, that's a big part of the business. On the retail side, it's probably hard to say, hey, the average Joe is going to just come in and buy parts from you. I don't know if that's ever going to be a huge part of your business, but I will tell you what would be getting more late ownership services, right? Getting more repairs where the parts obviously are part of that, right? They're part of that whole, so the parts are an extension of your service. So, by advertising more services on your website, letting customers know that, hey, you have these services available, the parts are going to just kind of come along with it. And so that's really what we're trying to really push to dealers, is like, hey, it's not just about getting you more oil changes, right? Now, every time I say that, I always have a dealer go, well, I could use more oil changes, right? So, you kind of have to, look at each individual situation. But, the reality is that most people want to make more money, not necessarily do more work. So if we can incorporate more services that make us more money from a customer pay standpoint, and they also tie into a defection time period, it's all going to sort of work together. And I think parts, the parts will obviously be a big benefit to that as well. But wholesale, I think, is a huge thing. I mean, I know dealers that are, having delivery trucks and they're driving around. I mean, that's a business inside of a business. That how do you get that out there? I mean, yeah, putting it on your website's a great start, but then you got to have the infrastructure, and you've got to be able to deliver these parts a lot of times to the different shops and dealerships that you're working with. Again, just another profit center that, if I was a dealer, I'd be breaking down each of these profit centers individually, and saying, how can I get more tire sales? How can I get more accessory sales? How can I do more wholesale parts? And not trying to bundle all up into this one little service environment. It's all got to be, each department almost has to be its own focal point, in my opinion.
And then track them, because if you're not tracking the stuff, that's a whole other thing. And just to put a bow on this as well, is you had mentioned about the whole accessory thing. The amount of times that I know you and I both go into dealerships, and I don't care what the brand name is if you are selling tire racks, or if you're selling camping, whatever, I don't care what the accessory is, and you touched on this, I just want to bring this to light. And I walk in, and you're saying you sell it, but it's not even, you don't even have it on the vehicle. Why do you not have this on the vehicle? Like, don't tell me that you want to sell this, and it's not even on the vehicle anywhere. Like, you have an awesome truck, a pickup truck, but you want to talk about the lift that you can put on it, but there's no lift on the truck, or whatever it may be. Broadcast that, show that you can do this. You can put all these cool accessories on the vehicle. If that's your number one selling accessory, then show it. Vanna White that shit. Like,
visuals, everything, right?
I think, how am I supposed to know that?
First time I ever saw that was years ago. We were working with the Kia store out in Honolulu, on Oahu, and they were putting like 20-inch rims on the Sorrentos back then. And the Kia product wasn't nearly what it is today, right?
No,
the Kia product is
way
awesome today. Back then it was a little more middle of the road, right? But you throw a pair of 20-inch or 22-inch rims on a Sorrento, man, people were flocking in. Now they hey, these are extra. Do you want them on, or do you want to take them off and put the factories back on?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were taking, people were taking them off, but they were like, it got them into the store, right? It got them into so putting out, vehicles that are decked out with accessories on your points, making sure they're in your showroom. Those are all, I mean, it just takes a little bit of work to do it, but what can that do from you from a profitability standpoint and that's not even online. Obviously, Then you start bringing that online, showing pictures of some of that stuff. It just, again, another place to sort of showcase those different departments.
Oh yeah, man, I've got so many stories about like the amount of accessories, but also understand what your clientele is. If you're jacking up a Ford, and they don't sell Ford, but like it's something that $100,000 into it. Do you want to really be doing that? So know your clientele and knowing where that lies. But if you've got a luxury vehicle and I mean, I've just seen some crazy stuff, and I was like, well, how much did you make on that? But it's like you knew your clientele and you knew that would sell. So just showcase it. I'm going to say showcase it.
So. Well, and so we've taken our technology now, our specials management software, and now we are building tire menu pages, accessory menu pages. We're all, and sometimes in the tire environment, we're actually tying it into their e-com. So like Toyota, for example, has a dealer tire relationship. Anybody that's selling tires for different models, we now give them the ability to also shop right there. Accessories is still a little green, but hey, good starting point, right? Take your top 6 to 10 accessories and let's get them out online. Let's tell people what you can see and what you can buy.
I love it. Oh, and you're getting me all excited over here. I'm like, ooh.
Sorry,
I could go on and on about this. I love it. No, it's this is just great stuff. So if you're not doing this stuff, please start. The only way that you're gonna get phenomenally awesome at this is to start. So, Owen, I cannot thank you enough for being on the show and for dropping the knowledge on this, and also congratulations on the Spark product, on the coolness of that, and then the AWA. I mean, that's just that speaks so much volumes to not your hard work and the team's hard work behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and just for everything you guys are doing over there at FixOut.digital. So before I jump to the lightning round, first and always the first question is, how can everyone find you? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, LinkedIn, definitely a great way. I'm all over LinkedIn, obviously through our website as well. If anybody wants to reach out to me directly, my direct cell phone number is 605-376-0195. Also via email, owen@fixopsdigital.com. I am always available. I love collaborating with stores and talking about their challenges and maybe how we can help. But ultimately, even if you just have a question, or I get people that call me all the time asking me about other vendors. And so, one thing I try to do is just be sort of I use the word authority kind of loosely, but I'd like to be that guy that can say, hey, check these guys out. They have what you're looking for. We don't have it. Or, hey, we can do that piece of it for you, or somewhere in the middle. And I think that's kind of the it's kind of the role that I've taken on here, and I'm embracing it and really enjoying it. So burning both sides of the candle some days, but we'll deal with that down the road. So
I know the feeling. The joys of entrepreneurship, dude.
100%.
All right, Owen. So what's your favorite thing to do outside of work? So when you aren't burning the candle at both ends and you've got a moment where the candle is sitting aside and you get a moment to cool down, what's your favorite thing to do outside of work?
Well, I've been a sports guy my whole life. Played a little college baseball, and then got into doing competitive softball for about 25 years. So spent a lot of time doing that, obviously playing a lot of basketball and things like that throughout. As I've got a little older here, some of that it's kind of came to an end, and not as much of that. So got into golf really heavily about 3 years ago when I kind of hung up the softball cleats. And so that's been a lot of fun. Not only can I obviously golf during our nice season here in South Dakota, but I would say my golf clubs like to travel. So last year I was in California for a couple of days. I got some rounds in, and then I was down in Arizona, got a round in. So definitely trying to find the links as much as possible there. Some cool things a cool thing that happened towards the end of last year is I became a grandfather. So so I've got about a 2-month-old grandson now, and he actually is coming here today to hang out with us for the weekend. But so I'm assuming that'll take up a lot more of my weekends and time as we move into this year and that type of thing. So and then obviously just I've got 3 kids. They're all a little older, so kind of watching them and helping them kind of navigate through adulthood and late teens and things like that. That's an experience in itself. So, but yeah.
That's awesome. So I've been told is that the best thing about parenthood is the grandchildren. So yeah,
Yes.
So enjoy.
Well, I already used that we were at Christmas and I was holding, his name is Cohen, and I was holding
Oh.
him and, he kind of filled his diaper and I was like, wait a minute, this is my job. Here, you can have this bag. You can have him back. I did what I was supposed to do, which is hold him. Now someone else needs to change him. So I already pulled my grandfather card once, right there. So
That's a lifetime of grandfathers. You do it all the time. Hannah back. Yeah, I'm done. You're done.
yeah, I did enough of that throughout the years. I'm done with that. So no. No, we're excited. We're excited to have them here this weekend. Obviously, they live about 3.5 hours away, so it's gonna be a lot of travel, I think, over the next several years as we kind of find time to get up there. And the good thing is that I can work from really anywhere. So we've got I work from anywhere now, so it's just heading up there and spending some time and but good to have them back here for the weekend. So.
And you're a pretty big Vikings fan, if memory serves me.
Yeah, season ticket holder. I'm a glutton for punishment. I've been
That's
a
okay.
I've been a Vikings fan since I was a kid, being a Minnesota born and raised. And it was pretty cool to get season tickets at the new stadium. I've got two, my cousin has two, and then we've got some friends that are in front of us that have four. So there's times when we buy up all eight, or we have all eight, and we bring a whole crew from South Dakota, and we'll either come up the night before and spend the weekend, or we'll do a day trip. But obviously, it's just fun. It's a fun environment. It's a great stadium. I think they're doing a lot of really cool things. I actually have been kind of watching as they've gotten a new coach and a new general manager, and just kind of watching how they're changing their, I guess, sounding board, this championship mentality. And you can learn a lot through sports. I always use a lot of sports analogies when I'm talking to my employees and my team. And even if they're not sports people, I think they can understand it and they can appreciate what can sports bring out in business. And so having that background has been good, because as the oldest guy in the group, I have a lot of young employees, a lot of young people that are coming up, and I hope that I can use some of my past experiences to help them, whether they stay with us long term, or we're a stepping stone to something bigger for them. I want to be able to kind of give them some of that guidance, and feel like I'm kind of that guy right now. So.
Love it. Love it. All right. Either in your personal life or in business, how are you distinguishing? Obviously, we're facts, not feelings. So how do you distinguish between facts, not feelings?
Well, I think one thing about getting older is that, I'm a little more that guy anyways, because I'm kind of more even keel, but I see it in a lot of people, where people that are very emotional and they wear a lot of things on their sleeves. I always had a 24-hour rule, right? 24-hour rule in everything. It's like, if I feel like there's an issue, I need 24 hours to digest it, because then it kind of becomes a little more clarity, right? Is it a fact? Was I just feeling this way? Is it combination? Again, sometimes that time really helps that. So as I was coaching sports, I had this happen a lot, where parents were just not happy, right? They weren't happy with how I was playing them, or what have you. And I always said, I need 24 hours. Give me take 24 hours, really think about it. And if you still have a problem, then come talk to me. And how many times I didn't actually hear from that parent again, because in that 24 hours standpoint, the feelings went away and the facts came into play, and they said, okay, we're really good. So, that's kind of the advice I give my employees now. That's what the advice I give, just people in general. And I think some of that comes with age, but I still feel like it's just kind of in general, like, feelings can be very misleading in the big scheme of things. Give it time, and I think the facts kind of come through. So.
Amen. Amen to that one. It used to be like a 10-minute rule. Like I would, and I'm pretty I'm very similar that way. It's just like, just take a minute here, chill out here. But yeah, just pump the brakes before you hit send on that email, because it's
100% right.
Once that email sent, there's no taking that email back.
You can't go back. Yes, for sure.
That's not. Yeah. Okay. So what do you love most about this industry?
Definitely the people. I mean, I've made some, especially over the last 7-8 years here, I've made some really good friends. I mean, not only clients that, obviously trust us to do a job, but just people that, kind of going back to becoming a grandparent late last year, the amount of congratulations and stuff like that. It's amazing how it's blended from family and friends to now colleagues and clients, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually hear, in some cases, I hear from my clients more than I hear from friends. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
and some clients have become really good friends. That just people that I've really gotten to know. I've gotten to know their families, that type of thing. Whether we do business or don't in the future, they'll always be a friend. And it's amazing how big how do I say this? How small the world is, but how big my reach has become, in that I've got friends all over the place now. Even friends from India, in Pakistan. I mean, it's got friends everywhere that I've met through this business. The products are going to come and go. They're going to evolve. The industry is going to have its challenges, but at the end of the day, it's all about the personal relationships, I think, that I've made, that I will, when I leave this industry, I will look back at that and say, that was probably the best part about my time here. So.
Yes, I couldn't agree more on that one. Couldn't agree more on that. We'll wrap up with, what is your favorite car?
My favorite car? Well, I'd probably say, well, one of my favorite vehicles is Cadillac Escalade. Always
Oh,
been
nice,
kind of,
nice.
yeah, kind of a, we're up here in the Midwest. You got to have the big trucks, that type of thing. I've never really been a sports car guy, but I've definitely been more like old, kind of an old school guy, like 1950 Chevys and things like that. So kind of that mix between the old classics and then some of the newer luxury vehicles. I've been a Lexus fan for many years. I think the quality is great. So that's from a brand standpoint. Lexus has been an awesome brand. So. But yeah, I'd say what was your dream vehicle back in the day? Growing up was definitely maybe a Cadillac Escalade. But
Nice.
yeah. So
do you have preference of color? I gotta ask.
we're all a white color family.
Oh, really?
We have 5 vehicles in our family, with all my kids, my wife, and me, and they're all white vehicles. So I don't know. I guess they say cleaner longer. They look cleaner
They
longer.
do,
Yeah.
yeah. Ours are all, we're all black. Is all of ours
Yeah.
are, yeah. But it's like like you said, it stays white, it stays cleaner longer. But I'm like, but it's so sexy. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But a lot of the white ones now, like the way that the black
That
rims
metallic
are,
white. Yeah,
oh
that
my gosh,
metallic white is awesome.
so
Yeah.
pretty, so pretty, awesome. Owen, thank you so much for being on the show, man. It has just been, like I said, such a pleasure having you on the show. And just like I said, always just dropping the knowledge and everything. If like I go back to this, what I said in the very beginning, is that if this is your first time hearing Owen, you're going to hear him again. He literally, I think anytime I turn on LinkedIn or I'm at a show, you are speaking everywhere. I think it was Fixed Ops Roundtable, one of them last year. And you and I were on a panel and we're both like, so we'll try to figure this out, but like literally we're on 3 shows over the next like week. So like you're everywhere. So definitely look him up, reach out to him and his team at Fixed Op Digital. They do a phenomenal job. And if anything else, I mean, he's there to help anyone that needs assistance. Like I know him. So give him a shout.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate the time. Obviously, finally got a chance to be on your show. So a lot of fun, good conversation, and maybe we'll do a follow-up at some point, right?
I love it. Love it. Love it. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. I super appreciate it. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, your weekend. As always, find a way to serve today. I don't care if it's your neighbor, your coworker, a family member, just find a way to help someone out today and just help somebody. And with that, everyone, we'll see everyone next week.